Today, we become legends.
Smite's lore can be confusing to say the least. Every new god in modern Smite comes with lore explaining why they're here fighting the other gods, as well as event lore and baseline lore. This video will cover only in-game lore. The real-world mythos of these gods is a different beast entirely, but there's a surprising amount of detail in the lore of Smite that's been building up in the background over the last 4 or 5 years, since they started really adding internal lore that was a break from the myths these gods are based on. I won't be covering every god's individual stories here, or any of the event lore such as Odysseys, but if you want more lore videos covering that sort of stuff, do let me know. This video is just to dip my toes in the water of Smite lore, and we'll cover the foundations of the game's story. I tried to make my channel the one-stop shop for Smite content, and I'm always trying new styles and topics to cover, so if you're interested in everything Smite and like the way I present my videos, why not subscribe? It's free and you can always undo it if you don't like what you see. But without further ado, let's jump into the foundations of Smite's lore. Smite's lore begins with the Pantheon Wars, 3 issues of comics that were released that overwrote the previous canon of Smite. This was the beginning of Smite's modern lore that we know today, much more detailed than haha gods want power so they fight, which was pretty much what we had before in terms of in-game lore. The first issue of Pantheon Wars opens with Hel talking to Fenrir about his chained state, promising that one day he will be free, unchained when the time is right.
Down, down, down!
Meanwhile, over in Olympus, a great volcanic eruption has ravaged the city. Worshippers of Hades pray to him, but their cries are like whispers on the wind to the god of the underworld. He ignores them. So loud were their cries that they reached the kingdom of the sun, and it was Anubis who answered their call, promising to take the souls of the Olympians to safety beyond the veil when they die. Hades feels belittled and betrayed by Anubis. He is the Olympians' god of death, but in his ignorance, he ran his followers into the arms of the Egyptian counterpart.
Give in now, and I will allow you a painless death.
So many lost souls in this land, so much death.
A brawl between the two ensues, blades clash, sparks fly, flesh tears, only to be interrupted by the sound of crashing thunder and 3 bellowing words. This ends now. Zeus is here. He expertly dissolves the conflict, Anubis returns to the kingdom of the sun, and Hades takes care of his harrowed worshippers.
Dark days these are, but my strength shall bring resolution, and my lightning illumination!
Cut to Mount Olympus. Athena and Ares are sparring. The two are quite evenly matched, but as Zeus points out, Athena fights with grace and precision, while Ares fights with brute strength and intimidation. Fury is the only weapon he knows.
Once again, your temper has gotten the best of you.
I will show you war!
Ares leaves to continue his training, leaving Zeus and Athena. They talk of the incident earlier today with Anubis and Hades. Zeus believes there are no longer enough faithful in the world to sustain all the gods. Deities from other pantheons have begun poaching worshippers. The Pantheon Wars have begun. Later that night, Zeus digs into Hades for the incident. Defending himself, Hades argues mortals are too greedy, always asking for favours from the gods but giving nothing in return. He doesn't see, like Zeus does, that worshippers are the source of a god's power, and that power is waning as they speak. Hades returns to the underworld, leaving Zeus to ponder the god's predicament. After some time, Hades strolls back into the throne room, a hood covering his face. But it's not Hades, it's Aokwang, Chinese dragon of the Eastern Seas, come to murder Zeus in cold blood.
Behold my power!
A long battle ensues, but Aokwang is too strong for Zeus to handle. He is defeated. The next morning, Hades returns to the throne room to apologise for his behaviour in the previous day. However, as he throws open the large double doors, he finds Zeus lying dead on the cold, hard floor. Athena follows Hades into the room and sees what he has, immediately blaming Hades for the murder because of the previous day's escapades.
You seriously lack in both strength and honesty.
Hades argues mercilessly that he would never kill his own brother over such a small dispute.
You made a deadly mistake.
Athena roars at him to release Zeus' soul from the river Styx immediately, but he can't. Hades does not have Zeus' soul. Another god of the underworld has it. Ares stakes his claim to the throne of Olympus as the eldest son of Zeus, but Athena knows that Zeus respected her far more than Ares. A ruler needs wisdom and strength, not just one.
Wisdom and strategy are better defenses than shields and armor.
Ares being Ares, he takes charge anyway and leads an offensive against the kingdom of the sun, along with Hermes, aka Mercury, demanding Anubis' head.
Sound the drums of war!
Ra knows Anubis could not have killed Zeus and so vows to protect him from the Olympian assault. Cut to the underworld and Hades is consorting with Hel. Hel was behind it all along, instructing Hades behind the scenes who brought Aokwang to kill Zeus. But Zeus' soul is lost. Neither Hades nor Hel know where it is. Ruling out Anubis as innocent, that leaves only one, the trickster god himself. Loki has Zeus' soul. Issue 2 of the Pantheon Wars opens on the battlefield. Athena and Hermes, Mercury, are part of the offensive against the Kingdom of the Sun. come for Anubis' words and his head if they're right and Anubis did have something to do with Zeus' death. Hermes uses his godly speed to get him and Athena into the palace of the sun unnoticed, blazing past mortal soldiers in a blur. They run into the laser chicken himself, Ra, in the throne room.
The light can heal, or the light can burn! Okay, it mostly burns.
Refusing to let intruders interrogate Anubis, Ra says he cannot offer vengeance on an innocent god. But there's one thing he can offer, the truth. The weaver, Neith, is attached to the threads of fate in the same way our legs attach to our torso. She can provide some clarity on the situation that no one else can.
I'm a weaver, you know. I once wove the whole world into creation, but oddly never found the time for pants.
A cryptic Neith relays to Athena that all people have a thread on the woven tapestry of life. Upon their death, their thread is broken. Neith feels this on her weave as a spider feels a fly trapped in its web. Neith continues, saying Zeus' thread is frayed but not yet broken. Some part of him still remains in this world.
I sense a disturbance in the weave.
The thunderbolt Zeus carries is the source of his power. Athena reasons that whoever killed Zeus must be controlling his thunderbolt, partially keeping him in this world. Neith offers to take Athena and Hermes to the culprits. Cut to the northern wilderness. Hel is furious at Loki for taking what was rightfully hers.
I'll be sure you never make it to Valhalla!
Oh no, I'm so sorry!
Are you kidding me?
She arranged the assassination. The power is hers to take, not her father's. However, the trickster god sees Hel's intentions for what they really are. She plans to use the Thunderbolt's power to break the chains that bind Fenrir and unleash Ragnarok, culling the god's population and solving the lack of worshippers. The gods left standing will be more powerful than ever, with more devout to worship them than ever before. Loki's fury boils to the surface as Hel explains her insane plan.
You will have to do better than that, child!
He strikes her with a lightning bolt's power, holding back only because of the blood ties between the two. Any other god he would have killed on the spot for even suggesting Ragnarok. Cut to the Jade Palace, Ao Kuang's abode under the Jade Empire Sea. Upon his return from slaying Zeus, Ao Kuang finds Sun Wukong waiting for him. Hanging from the ceiling, Wukong pulls at Ao Kuang's short temper by suggesting that his magic cudgel was stolen, and that he replaced it with one of the pillars in the palace's throne room.
You do talk big, don't you, little immortal?
Careful not to provoke Ao Kuang too much, Wukong leaves, only to be replaced by Hel, who materializes from the underworld, much to the surprise of Ao Kuang.
Cunning. Very cunning.
Now you will know pain.
Hel relays what happened with Loki and requires Ao Kuang's expertise once again. However, he has not received payment for Zeus yet. A contract like that draws attention that is expensive to keep under wraps. The original payment was Wukong's magic cudgel. After refusing it until Loki is dealt with, Hel provokes Ao Kuang, who reveals his true dragon form, demanding the cudgel.
I am the Dragon King!
But as we've seen, Hel holds no quarter when executing her plan of Ragnarok. She uses the magic cudgel to strike the pillars of Ao Kuang's palace. The building begins to collapse around them. Within minutes, almost nothing is left of the Jade Palace, crumbled to dust by the force of Hel's blows. Sometime later, Sun Wukong rises to the surface of the water, drags the weakened Ao Kuang to the shore with him and stares down at the once great Dragon King of the Eastern Seas. He uses his last breath to tell Wukong that Hel was behind the attack, then his eyes glaze over. Ao Kuang is slain. Cut to the frigid lands between Olympia and Asgard. Athena, Hermes, again Mercury, and Neith search for the wielder of Zeus' soul. Neith relays that a powerful thread has been severed to the east. Not of their concern, but an impactful death nonetheless. The group happens upon a village, the residents calling Hermes by the name Mercury. This place is clearly different to Mount Olympus. They keep similar gods, but with different names. Mercury asks the villagers what happened to their ruined town.
Oh man, I love this part! So exciting!
A scared mortal tells them that lightning cracked from the sky. Mercury's gifted speech and charisma allow him to extract the true culprit from the shell-shocked villagers. The group now has a name on Zeus' killer, Loki.
Look at this team, guys! We got this!
The throne room of Asgard. Hel bows before Odin, telling him of Loki's reckless murder of Zeus, though we know the truth. Thor is furious and gathers an army to smite down Loki before the situation gets out of hand.
Enough, Loki! No more tricks!
Hel's plan goes off without a hitch. She grins malevolently. Using Mercury's blazing speed, he, Neith, and Athena catch up to the fleeing Loki. All three release their fury on the trickster, but with his own guile and the power of Zeus, Loki does a King Arthur and 1v3s the group before escaping the scene. Neith and Athena are relatively unharmed, but Mercury was backstabbed in the fighting. He lies on the snow-covered ground, trembling.
Another one bites the dust!
Issue 3 opens in the Kingdom of the Sun. Ares, still believing Anubis is the murderer, has completed his assault on the city and now faces Ra head-on.
You cannot escape my chains!
Ra tells Ares of his sister's visit with Mercury and how she sought justice, not vengeance, even in her grief. He claims Ares cares only for bloodlust and revenge, a lesser man than the mighty Ra. This infuriates Ares and he unleashes a mighty blow on Ra's head, knocking him to the ground. Seeing only red, Ares continues pummeling Ra, screaming the words, "I am no one's equal." Having taken over the city, Ares has Ra imprisoned in his own dungeons with orders to bring the Eye of Ra to him.
I show my enemies no mercy!
Cut to the borderlands between Asgard and Olympus. Neith senses a disturbance in Ra's thread. He lives, but the power he exerted and the light he brought to the sky is waning. The Eye of Ra has been stolen. The world is going dark. Meanwhile, at the gates of Asgard, Loki arrives, wielding Zeus's lightning bolt for all to see. Thor accuses him formally of Zeus's murder and is about to set his army against the trickster god.
You are in for a world of pain. I bring the thunder and the lightning!
But Loki speaks, and the words pierce the sound of the frigid wind like a knife through paper. Hel is guilty, not me, and she intends to bring Ragnarok using the power of Zeus. Thor doesn't believe Loki, thinks he is playing another one of his tricks to escape his reckoning, but there is a hint of belief in his voice as he calls Loki a liar. Wukong arrives at the scene and regales his tale of Hel's treachery and Aokwang's murder.
These immortals need to be taught a lesson.
None the wiser, Athena accuses Loki of the murder, emboldening Thor to lead his armies against Loki. A teamfight ensues, Loki, wielding the power of Zeus, fends off the attacks of Athena and Thor, while Sun Wukong battles with Hel in an attempt to regain his magic cudgel and avenge Aokwang's death. Loki mocks Thor as he now controls a more powerful thunder than even Odin's son can muster.
Try not to drink so much, Thor. You might get hammered!
Catching him off guard, Athena slams her shield into Loki, followed by a thrown spear. Loki regains his composure and blasts Athena with a bolt of pure lightning, using the power of Zeus. Wukong retrieves his cudgel from Hel and brings it down hard. Hel expertly dodges the blow and laughs at the Monkey King. Thor and Athena position themselves at either side of Loki. No escape. They unleash their power and strike Loki with the force of two gods. He collapses and drops the lightning bolt, only to be picked up by Hel. Still unwise to the real plot that is unfolding, Neith and Athena go to finish off Loki when he's weak. However, showing her difference from Ares, Athena seeks justice for Loki's crimes, not petty vengeance.
Some gods will never learn, but we must do our best to teach them anyway.
Loki is taken away as he rants and raves about Hel and her plan for Ragnarok and how she will doom us all. Cut to Fenrir's prison. Hel uses the power of Zeus to break the chains binding Fenrir. At last he is free. Ragnarok is unleashed.
At last I'm free! My time has come! Ragnarok is upon us!
In the underworld, Mercury meets the Fallen, some dying at the hands of Hel, others at the hands of Ares, and others still at the hands of gods who are now their equal in the underworld. Mercury seeks out Zeus and hatches a plan to return to Mount Olympus and end Ragnarok once and for all. And that's the end of the Pantheon Wars comics. These basically set the foundation for other lore to be built upon and gives us the reason why the gods are fighting in Smite, as well as a nice nod to the mastery system in game with the worshipper shortage idea. Fighting on the battlegrounds of the gods earns you an all-important share of the few devout worshippers left. If you enjoyed this video, do let me know as I can make more lore videos on event lore, god stories, things like that if there's interest. Other than that, don't forget to drop a like on the video before you leave, and I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.